Want to hear something wild? Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 craziest histories behind Pawn Star items. For this list, we're looking at items with the weirdest backstories or historical significance that have found their way into the Las Vegas-famed gold and silver pawn shop. As they always say, you never know what's going to come through that door. Number 10. O.J. Simpson's white Ford Bronco.
This isn't just any SUV, it's the SUV. It's the one 95 million people saw on TV doing what I'm about to do right now.
As Rick mentions, everyone alive in 1994 remembers where they were when the infamous low-speed O.J. Simpson chase took place. The televised pursuit saw the former NFL star fleeing from police in the back of his friend's white Ford Bronco, a lukewarm pursuit that lasted around 90 minutes. Rick couldn't believe it when the SUV rolled into this shop, and he even got the chance to take it for a spin.
You think OJ wore a seatbelt?
I highly doubt it.
But with the owner asking a cool $1.3 million for it, Rick decided to pass.
I'm gonna pass on it? Okay. With something like this, it's so much of a gamble because there's nothing to compare it to its price.
It's a shame they didn't buy it along with that O.J. Simpson statue that Flava Flav brought in that time. They'd have made quite the multi-buy purchase. Number 9. The Wayne's World car. Party time, excellent.
So this is it. This is the car.
This is the Wayne's World car.
Anyone into SNL or pop culture in general will know of Wayne's World and the huge following it had in the 90s and still to this day. The 1976 AMC Pacer, also known as the Mirthmobile featured in the movie, was seriously memorable, with flame decals and the fact that it featured the iconic Bohemian Rhapsody sing-along scene. When Rick was in Orlando, he contacted the owner, who had himself bought the car from a museum. He offered to sell the battered Pacer to Rick for $15,000, but they eventually settled on $9,500.
I'll give you $9,500.
You got a deal.
Damn.
And Rick spent a lot more to have it restored. Shwing.
Whoa! Dude, this is sweet.
What do you think, son?
It's still the ugliest car in the history of the world.
Number 8. Saddam Hussein's Fingerprints.
Okay. Definitely something different.
Yeah.
As a rule of thumb, Rick doesn't usually buy things that belong to really bad people. But seeing as though Saddam Hussein's capture was something the USA celebrated, he decided to take a second look at this one.
But this represents a major victory for U.S. Armed Forces, and that's pretty cool. But still, putting a price on something so creepy won't be easy.
A guy who was involved in the arrest of Hussein came into the store with a certified copy of Hussein's fingerprints, which were taken from when he was captured back in 2003. According to the owner of them, they were given to him as a gift, and he was looking to collect $10,000 for them. Rick offered $1,500, and ultimately they couldn't make a deal.
Well, thanks for bringing it in. It was pretty neat.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a nice day.
Pleasure. Well, we weren't able to make a deal today. I'll probably just hang on to them. For now, they'll probably just go back up on the wall in my office.
Number 7. Super Mario statue.
Hey, Chunk.
What's up?
Check this out, man.
Hey, it's Mario!
As iconic as mascots go, Super Mario is one of the most revered, and as a result, it's understandable why the Pawn Stars would want to get their hands on anything Mario related. When a guy brought a huge statue of the legendary gaming figure into the store, Chumley was smitten with it.
Anyone building a home theater or a game room would go crazy for something like this. So if the price is right, I'm all over it.
Apparently, its owner Caesar won the statue after he beat his friend who owned an arcade in a game of Mario Kart. What a prize, right? The guy said he would have been happy with $100, but ended up getting $550 for it. That's a lot of coins to someone like Mario.
Sold. All right. I'll meet you at the corner.
Whee, Mario.
Number 6. Liquid-powered pistol. The guys have seen all sorts of weird weapons come into the shop, but this one was stranger than most.
The guy brought in a really weird compressed gas gun, and I've never seen anything like it.
Having an antiques expert drop in to advise on the gun's backstory, it was revealed that it was a pistol that used liquid, thought up by an inventor. But it didn't use water, no, it used liquid carbonic acid, which would expand into a gas and allow the pistol to fire pellets.
If you gave me an unlimited supply of money, I couldn't find you 50 of these things. They made under 500, and I'd be surprised if there were 100 left.
Okay.
So.
All right, so the big question, what's it worth?
and this thing was rare, with only 500 made, and expert Craig Gottlieb stating that he'd only ever seen 3 in his lifetime. Unfortunately for its owner, it was only valued at $3,000, and Rick took it off his hands for $2,500.
I guarantee you, if you lined up 1,000 airgun collectors, none of them would have this pistol in their collection.
Number 5. Rolling Stones promo record. Before everything went online, it used to be that musical artists would hand in demos and promotional tracks to radio stations, back in the days of vinyl. And that's where the story on the next item originates. Back in the 60s, the Rolling Stones were looking to sell themselves to radio stations, and thus a promo record was created.
This is one of those weird records they go crazy for. They printed hardly any of them.
Right.
You want me to unwrap this for you?
No, don't do that.
The owner was asking for $4,000, but after one of Rick's friends came in to examine it, they found that it was actually a reproduction of said promotional record.
This one is easily found on the internet for about $150.
All right.
Once again, I'm the bubble burster.
Okay.
Nevertheless, they managed to strike a deal, with Rick taking it off his hands for $65.
You don't see these around. I mean, it's vinyl.
You know what? I'll give you the $65 for it.
Okay.
Okay.
Number 4. First issue of Playboy magazine. Regardless of whether you indulge in Playboy magazine, you can't deny its popularity all over the world.
How do you know so much about Playboys?
Trust me, chum, I know.
And its legacy started all the way back in 1953 when the first issue featuring Marilyn Monroe was released. At the time, she was a rising movie star, but her appearance in the issue of Playboy, which came about after a photographer sold her nude photos to the magazine, boosted her profile overnight.
The studios thought it was just going to ruin her, it was going to ruin the movie. But the great thing was, Marilyn, she just played it off. And she just went, yeah, that was me. You ought to buy the magazine.
The owner of the magazine was given it by his father, who bought it back in the day, and although the owner was hoping for $2,000, he made a deal with Rick for $1,400.
This is awesome. I could probably double or triple my money, but I think I'm going to keep it in the case for a while because it's going to bring people in the door.
Number 3. Bridgewater Corkscrew Set. Prohibition was a miserable time in America for pretty much everyone, so when it came to an end in the 1930s, there were celebrations everywhere.
1932 Bridgewater Corkscrew was developed by Horace Bridgewater, really to prep the country for the end of Prohibition.
But before that, people were bitter and funny.
I guess even back in the day, they were popping bottles.
Hence this specially made Bridgewater Corkscrew, made to resemble Andrew Volstead, the guy responsible for getting the Prohibition Act passed.
This guy was hated by everybody.
Yes.
He was hated by people who drank alcohol because he made it illegal.
Exactly.
He was hated by the people who didn't drink because now there's so much crime going on.
The set contains a corkscrew, wine stopper, and a shot glass, and also a miniature coffin box. The guy who brought it in walked away with $325, and the shop got themselves a unique piece of history. Number 2. A stolen submarine. This next item is a bit different, and not because of its history, like where and when it was made, but because of who owned it and who didn't.
All right, I got to admit, this is the first time anyone's brought a submarine to my shop. Where in the world did you get this?
A one-man submarine appeared on the show in the usual format. The owner showed up and Rick made a deal. But after purchasing it for $3,000, Rick later found out that it was stolen.
Don't you tell the old man anything about this.
My lips are sealed.
A lawyer who was watching the show claimed that it belonged to a client of his, and that it had been previously stolen. Apparently, owner Lynette knew nothing about this. Eventually, the police reclaimed the submarine, and it was returned to its rightful owner, leaving Rick with a sinking feeling in the pit of his stomach.
I still want an apology, guys.
Yeah.
Bug off, son. I deserve an apology.
You do not.
Yes, I do.
Be a cold day in hell.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. JFK's cigar box. When it comes to the USA's most memorable and iconic presidents, John F. Kennedy is certainly up there. And anything JFK related that comes into the pawn shop is always of instant interest.
This is John F. Kennedy's cigar box.
Sure is. And inside are the remaining unsmoked cigars.
We were considering the JFK luncheon invitation for our number 1 pick, but instead we went for his cigar box.
The box contains 11 hand-rolled cigars wrapped in clear plastic. What do we got there?
8. There's a few missing.
Used by Kennedy and placed on his desk in the Oval Office, it was handed down by Kennedy's former secretary and later purchased by owner Eric.
JFK absolutely loved his cigars. And to actually have a cigar box that sat on his desk in the Oval Office is just one of those things I can only dream about.
JFK loved himself a cigar, so the item is pretty special. Special enough to warrant a price tag of $60,000, in fact, which is what was paid. Have a cigar, Rick. Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.